This is going to be a short video on how to find stealth camping spots in a new city to you. So look for industrial areas wherever you see gray, not mixed with green. You see this is green mixed with gray, that's suburbs. But over here is all gray, that's industrial. But this doesn't really help us because we need something like this street right there. See that semi-truck parked there? That's exactly what we're looking for. In fact, I'll save that spot. So when you see parked cars parked on a public street like this, that is perfect. It's a wide road, so I would zoom into the street maps and then look around. I might scroll down the street just to make sure there's no signs, and it'll show up, and I might walk the street. But see, as you can see, there's plenty of room on the street, and that's why there's a truck parking here, because it is the perfect spot for stealth camping. Alright, let's zoom out, find another one. So here's another stealth spot I found in just a couple minutes. So these little streets are really good. You see parked cars, and you see it's not a main street because you don't want a lot of traffic going past you because then they could hit you. So this is a less traveled street, and it's like a connecting street. So it's, how can I explain this? It's a good spot. It's it doesn't have a lot of traffic. It's got a wide road, so there's places to park on the side of the road, and there's even evidence that other people have parked on the side of the road. So that is a great spot. If you're having trouble finding these industrial areas, you can look for an industrial zoned map. Just Google like Portland zoning map, and you'll find all these areas where it's all gray like this. This is a commercial zoned area. I can tell because it's got all these little businesses. And let's take a look at the street. So this is good. We've got a parked car here, and I don't see any houses on either side of the street except for, no, that's too big to be a house. So this is a good street. Yeah, lots of parked cars. You know, you might not want to loiter here all day while the businesses are open, but you can absolutely park there all night and no one will bother you, because it's not like you're a creeper hanging out at the school, and it's not like you're some suspicious van hanging out in front of someone's house, you know. Now this street, it's too busy, and there's no parking on the side. This street, it's possible. Those may be parked cars. I'd have to zoom in and look. Let's see. Oh, those are apartment complexes. So sometimes people like to ultra stealth camp by apartment complexes because it's a place where random cars will show up and park overnight without any hesitation. I try to avoid anywhere near houses because I like to bump my music, and I like to just not worry about stuff, you know. Okay, so here's some more gray areas. It's probably all too busy. Now, you see this parking lot? Never go there. That's private property. So what you're looking for is street parking. And when you see a semi-truck, you know you have struck gold. A parked semi-truck. So you might be able to park right there where that teal car is parked. It looks like a pretty wide road. More apartments. So as you can see, I just go around, and when I see a spot, I save it. And now I have over 100 spots. So, let's see what else I can tell you about this. Let's try to find another one. Okay, so this is gray. This is all commercial. So let's find one of these connecting streets like this one. Bam! See what I'm talking about? Parked cars. That's perfect. Probably this one would do also. Still haven't found any parked semi-trucks. But okay, let's talk about this street. This may be... Okay, so this is private right here. I can tell because this fence here. But this right here, I wouldn't park here. No way. It's probably private, and it's like, it's a dead end. Well, okay, no, it's a through street. You might be able to park here, actually. Somewhere. But, I kind of avoid these spots where it's like, you have no business being here, you know what I mean? Because unless you work at one of these businesses, it's kind of suspicious for you to be loitering. Like, yeah, that's got to be private property because it's not a paved road. So, I wouldn't park there. You could probably get away with it, but let's look at this street. Okay, bam. That's a parked semi-truck. But it may be parked on private property. Yeah, I think it is. But right here, this is street parking. See, because it's not over that little sidewalk boundary. See how that's on the sidewalk? It looks like that's in the road. These public street parking spots is what you're looking for. Let's find another one. So that looks like a trailer park. I wouldn't go anywhere near there. And that's all really thick commercial. Sometimes near storage spots you find places to park like this, and you find other RVers sometimes. So this could be a decent spot. I'd have to look at it on the road view. Okay, let's find another spot. So that's all green. That's suburbs. Okay, so here, this looks like a very, very peaceful spot right here. Because you see there's empty lots. No one to bother. And it's a dead-end road. So, oh, and there's shade right there. Well, past a gate it looks like. But anyway, this car parked right there, totally legal. Looks like to me. It's a very wide road. You see evidence of other cars parking there, so we can zoom in, look for any street signs. What's that say? No motorized vehicles. Yep, so that's a legit spot. Now, every time you find one of these spots where there's parked cars on the side of the road, especially parked semi-trucks, and it's not near anyone's house, save that pin on the map, and then when you need a spot to go, just look for the nearest pin on the map. I've got hundreds. Okay, let's find another one. Hopefully you're getting the idea. See, this is gray and green. It's all suburbs. You don't want to go anywhere near here because people say, oh, it's a creeper van. Now, sometimes you get a little commercial zoned area like this in between houses. So those are all houses. So you might be able to park like right here. Just stay 50 feet from the stop sign. There you go. Well, no, actually I would not park here because that looks like it's an entrance to a residential zone. Alright, let's find another one. Okay, so we got green and gray over here, suburbs, green and gray over here, more suburbs. But you see here, this is all gray. Now this is all private property. What we're looking for is a road. Bam! Look at that, parked semi-truck. And that looks like a paved road. So that is perfect. That's a perfect spot. There's no one to bother. Now it looks to me like it's not private property because it's an actual road. You know, maybe look for a road sign right about here. Let's look for some more. Hopefully you should be getting the idea. Just look for the gray. Stay away from houses. Like these might be houses. Yeah, that's definitely a house. I would stay away from that. Okay, more houses. Stay away from that. Let's see, is that a parked car? Okay, so that's a pretty wide road. A big wide shoulder. You see that white line in between the sidewalk? That is parking space. So that... No, that's a moving car. You might be able to park here, but... Yeah, it's too busy and too small of a parking spot for me. But this is what I do. I just scroll around on the map looking for gray spots, and when I see this, boom. I see parked cars. Well, that's not a parking spot. Let's see. Maybe along this road. Yeah, bam. Okay, so you see how it says Copart? That is a car lot. An auction way. Definitely a car lot. So, let's check at the very end. That's probably a prime parking spot. You're not bothering anyone. Hold on, there's a fly. Ah, motherfucker. Yeah, so that's a prime spot. Not bugging anyone, just get left alone. See, look at that. I'll even save that spot. So you should be getting the idea by now. Now, when we see a bunch of all green or all tan, that's farmland, and that's some awful places to park usually, because there's like, I mean, maybe there's like a gravel pullout, but usually it's just a road and there's dirt and shrubbery on either side. So there's like nowhere to park. Or like maybe one little pullout like this. You could probably get away with that for a bit. Oh, I fucking got him. I hate when flies get in here. It's been like one a day recently. Now this, you see that gravel pullout? You also want to look out for wide roads, or when a road gets extra wide for just a little bit. You can zoom in. What's that? What's that? Regional biosolids. Okay, so what it looked like was a wide road with pullouts on the side. Actually turns out to be private property. So the street maps are very helpful to the street view is very helpful. Because see, look at that. It looks like a parking spot, but that sign right there indicates it's private property. And there's some development here that says it's for something else. So you don't want to go there. Now this is one of those farm roads I'm talking about. You don't want to go here. There's, you know, I would figure that it would just sketch out some farmer guy, and he'll grab his rifle and be like, "Oh, the feds are coming for me again." You know, if you got like a big white van. I don't know. I wouldn't want to loiter near someone's house and make them paranoid. You know. So, as we go farther from the city, the landscape changes, and there's a lot less spots actually, especially in Oregon, because usually there's so many dang trees on either side of the road. Like, you could probably pull off here for a bit, but I wouldn't overnight it. Especially I wouldn't be drinking a beer in the back of the van in a place like this. Now this is the dead end road, and it's residential, so no, bad. Don't want to park there. Here, let's look at a smaller city. So let's look for the gray. I've seen some Les Schwab tire. I see trucks and industry. That looks like private property. It's not an actual road. That does too. This is too busy of a road. Let's zoom out a bit. Okay, Les Schwab. So over here, this is residential zoned. It looks like. Well, they might be businesses. I don't know. We'd have to zoom in. No, that's got to be a house. Okay, so over here is commercial. So you might be able to get away with a spot like this if that's not a house. But I like these spots that are like way out in the middle of nowhere, like a perfect place to get murdered. I like those spots where there's just no one around and no one wants to fuck with a white van on the side of the road because they're worried about getting murdered just as much as you are, you know. So the really sketchy, deserted spots, those are the best, as long as you have a gun. Okay, right here, you could probably overnight here just fine. It's a wide street, it's industrial, there's evidence of cars being parked. No houses nearby. And it doesn't look like a particularly busy street. Like, this is a busy street. You can tell because it's got the traffic lines. It's got a highway designation, 99. But this, you know, I wouldn't loiter here all day after spending the night. But you could probably spend the night just fine. I've literally never had any troubles. Here's another spot. Parked cars. No houses. So the only time I've had trouble is when I was in an industrial zone and a security guard claimed that the no truck parking signs applied to me. And I called him a liar, and I stayed there to prove the point. And the cops came, and they were cool, even though I was pretty pissed off. So, moral of the story is, once someone detects that you're there and you know that they don't like it, it's time to find another spot. It's really easy to turn the key as long as you're not inebriated and just find another spot. You know, there's thousands of spots. Just save them on your Google Maps, just like this. So this, you see this big green and tan area with some gray? That's high school, and you want to stay far away from that because it's just not a good look. People think you're a creeper, you know, waiting for an opportunity to, like, get someone, you know. Whereas if you're in the middle of nowhere, like this spot, you know, you're obviously not waiting for some pedestrian to walk by to snatch them into your van, you know. It's not like people will worry about that. They'll just be like, oh, look, it's a van parked on the side of the road, minding his own business. Who knows if there's someone in there? Who cares? You know, it's not like people are worried about you dumping a bottle of piss in front of their house, which you should never do. Bottle that up and bring it to the dump site. Or a toilet. Here's another good spot. Bam. Now this is one of those more populated spots where you're going to hear people getting in and out of their cars and like people hanging out in their cars near you. So, I don't know. Personally, those kind of spots make me feel a little bit uncomfortable because I like to bump my music and, you know, do push-ups, which makes the van rock. And, you know, I like to live not in complete silence and stealth. You know, so I really do prefer spots, not necessarily like this busy commercial spot, but more like this. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of how to find van spots. So here's all my spots. As you can see, they're just everywhere. You know, downtown areas are especially good for parking because you can just, there's parking like everywhere. You know, and no one cares about a van parked in downtown, even if there is someone in it, because there's like crazy homeless people that are smoking crack and having dogfights in their RV. And if you're just like a clean looking van on the side of the road, legally parked, not spilling any liquids, not setting any shit on the sidewalk, not setting any stuff on your roof rack, looking like a hoarder, you know, you're not going to draw any attention to stay a night and leave. And when I first started this, I was pretty intimidated about, like, can I really get away with living like this? Can I just park somewhere and live and not pay rent? You know, isn't that illegal? You know, I was pretty worried about it, but I've literally never had a problem except for that one time that I stayed to prove a point. And the nicer you make your van look on the outside, the better luck you're gonna have, because it's the difference between looking like you have a job and you are of value to society, and looking like a bum that's gonna dump trash, beg for shit, steal for shit, and stuff like that. So, how you present your image to the world really, really matters in this life. You know, get a can of Raptor paint and paint it. A paint job can turn a shitty car into a good car, you know, in the public's eyes. And it's also like your activities. Say you're gonna go start your generator, okay? If you have lights on in the van, or maybe one of the doors cracked, or maybe the window down, then people can see that you're not like some random suspicious person messing with a box on the side of a van on the side of the road. If you have some indication that, like, basically you want to clue people in to you not being a suspicious character. You know, if you have a door cracked and there's lights in there and you're working on your roof rack, they're probably going to be like, oh, it's a guy that owns a van and he's working on it. But it looks a lot more suspicious if it's like all dark, you're wearing all black, and you maybe have a little flashlight and you're like messing with something. You know, that's the kind of stuff that people call cops on. So be aware of your public image and what you are doing, and when you're doing things in the public eye, it's better to clue them in. You know, like, let me try to find another example. Okay, say you're sitting in your van and there's people around. You could either be like looking around suspiciously, or you could be like completely entranced in your phone. People do not give a shit about people staring at their phone. It's like in the Assassin game where you can press X to blend in. Looking down at your phone is like blending in. No one cares. You're not doing any criminal activity if you're sitting there on your phone, unless you're like suspiciously loitering in a place, looking at your phone and then looking around, you know, like you're looking for danger. Cops especially really pick up on the whole vibes of looking for danger or feeling threatened, because they know that criminals will try to observe the area and watch out for themselves, you know. But if you're just totally minding your own business, you look a lot less suspicious. I don't know if I can think of another scenario. Well, hopefully this video is helpful to you in finding spots. This method has worked for me for years, and I've never had trouble. Just stick to the method. You stick to commercial zoned areas and industrial zoned areas. Make sure there's no houses around. Make sure you're not parked on private property ever, or park property, because there's extra rules there. Make sure you're legally parked, you know, stay 50 feet away from the stop sign. Park within 1.5 feet of the curb. You know, closer to the curb is safer. And point your wheels out if you want to avoid being sideswept, because then they would hit your tires rather than your whole car. The tires are very durable. They can take a hit and move inwards. But most of all, people see those tires, and one, they question if you're going to pull out in front of them with your lights off, or if they're going to hit your car if they go too close. They could hit your tires because they poke out a bit. So that's just one tip on how I park. Let me think. Parking legally. Stay out of bike lanes. In a lot of places, you cannot park in bike lanes. Don't park near intersections. Just look up the parking rules for your city, and then you can be totally sure that no one can mess with you. And then have an excuse. If someone's gonna say, "Hey, why are you in your van on the side of the road?" "Oh, well, I'm a delivery man. I'm doing my job." You can even go on the offense. "I'm doing my job." Who's gonna mess with a guy in a work van doing his job? No one. So that's another part about blending in. Look like you belong. Have confidence. Don't be acting sketchy like, "Oh God, I hope no one thinks I'm like sleeping in this van, and I'm gonna look around, make sure the coast is clear, and then keep all the lights super dim and jump in the back real quick." And you just there's a difference between acting suspiciously and acting like you're not doing anything wrong. You always want to have that mindset like you're doing nothing wrong. It's your right to choose how you want to live. And if you don't want to pay rent and play the stupid game, that's your choice, And they can look down on you for living in a van if they want, but they ain't gonna call the cops on you. What else can I talk about? Let me think. I think that's about it. Enjoy.